Hey guys, Kevin from Kevin's Off-Road here. From time to time I see folks on the internet asking whether or not you need a steering stabilizer on the front coil spring suspension that would come under your Dodge or your Jeep or something like that. And I see people answering from an authoritarian standpoint, telling people that they don't need a steering stabilizer, which vexes the hell out of me. Let's kind of jump into that and let's talk about it. So first off, do you think a manufacturer would spend extra money on an unnecessary item from the factory? And when I ask this question, I'm assuming you know that your vehicle came with a steering stabilizer to begin with, right? Manufacturers are really good at going through overhead expenses and making sure that they're not spending any more pennies than they can possibly spend. Unfortunately, this also ends up being one of these deals where parts break because they don't spend the money that they could to make a quality design on a particular item, I don't know, door handle, whatever it is. So again, do you think that a steering stabilizer would be standardized equipment if it was not necessary, if the engineering department deemed it not necessary? So that's part A. Part B, we'll talk about shock absorbers for a second here. Could you run your vehicle with no shock absorbers? The answer is yes, you could. You could. There's a reason to have a shock absorber in the system. The reason is because as soon as your inflated tire hits an imperfection in the pavement, it's going to bounce. And being the fact that it's rubber, kind of like a rubber ball, it's going to bounce up and down. Now the shock absorber is designed to dampen that up and down motion that the tire creates. Well, the steering stabilizer, also known as a steering dampener if you're in other parts of the world, steering dampener does exactly the same thing. It's just a left-right motion instead of an up-down motion. So when you hit an imperfection in the pavement, wouldn't it make sense to have a factory application of a steering stabilizer in place to catch that movement left and right so that the rig doesn't trigger into death wobble? I mean, wouldn't that make sense to you? So, there's folks out there that say, well, if everything's perfect, then you don't need a steering stabilizer. Well, yeah, okay. So this is not a perfect world that we live in. We all know that. I'm not sure why they continue on this path of you don't need a steering stabilizer if everything's perfect. I mean, this is not a perfect world. Furthermore, as your tires grow larger and are heavier, you need even more dampening. So that would come in the form of shock absorbers that would require, shock absorbers that would have even better dampening than the factory shock absorber has. And this is totally common knowledge that nobody disputes. If you get bigger tires, you need shocks that dampen better. Like nobody ever disputes that. But you go, you put a bigger tire on there and you have a dampener that's a beefier design, or perhaps you put a second stabilizer in the design because your tires are so large that they need extra dampening. And these guys come unglued. Not sure what their logic is, but it's just erroneous information. I mean, again, if the steering stabilizer was optional equipment, by all means, the manufacturer wouldn't put it on to begin with. So just don't pay any attention. That's about all I can tell you. If you want to solve your death wobble problem, you need to take out all of the looseness out of the steering in the front suspension, okay? And that requires you to have an operational steering stabilizer. We'll talk about steering stabilizers in another video as well as far as the quality is concerned. But for now, I'll let you run. My name's Kevin, Kevin's Off-Road. You can shoot us a text or give us a call at 602-841-3355. We've got a guide on how to fix death wobble. If you go to our website, which is KevinsOffroad.com, and type in Cure Death Wobble in the search bar there, you'll come up with a step-by-step guide. We also have a book that we sell. So anyway, we know a thing or two about death wobble. We became experts on this, not because this was my lifelong passion, but because customers were coming to us and they needed help, and we were able to help them out. So we're happy to help you out as well. Give us a shout and we'll take excellent care of you and get this death wobble problem under control. I appreciate your time, and we'll catch up with you real soon. Thanks.